My name is Keyton Dozier. As most of you know, violent video games have been a hot topic in the media over the last several years. There are two sides of this argument. One side believes that violent video games have a negative impact on children and cause them to be more violent and increase their chances of committing a crime. The other side believes the exact opposite. Both sides have their resources, but both fail to explain the positive things that video games can do for their players. As someone who has played these violent video games for years, I provide unique insight into this seldom talked about topic. Today, I will explain to you the positive impact that violent video games can have on their players. Violent video games are the most popular type of game, ahead of sports games and racing games, and most of these games are online. When in an online game, players can be put into awkward situations where they must join together and communicate with one another to accomplish a common goal. If you can't communicate with other people, it is much harder to accomplish things in these games. Now, in today's day and age, any practice with communication is definitely a positive thing. YouTube and other content sharing sites, such as Reddit, allow players to form communities and talk to each other about strategies, mechanics, and ideas for games. They can even hook up together and play. Some people develop lifelong friends online and on the internet by doing these things. But communication isn't necessarily the best thing that online games can have for their players. That would be education. Every game has a reason to exist, a central narrative, why they were made. My favorite game is Assassin's Creed. It provides historical, religious, and cultural facts that you wouldn't necessarily know if you didn't play it. After playing many of these games, I was able to have conversations with historians over things I never would have knew if I didn't play them, and learn more through these conversations. But that's not the best thing that I got from playing Assassin's Creed. On the English composition ACT, there was an essay prompt that I didn't quite understand. After reading it completely and picking out a few key terms, I was able to relate it to an Assassin's Creed game, go back, read the prompt again, and construct a perfect essay. I got a 3 on this test, which is barely passing, and I strongly believe that if I did not do good on that essay, I would have failed. Passing this allowed me to skip Composition 1, saving hundreds of dollars, hundreds of hours in studying, and allowing me to get further ahead in college. Just to say that again, playing a game allowed me to save hundreds of dollars, hundreds of hours studying, get further ahead in college, all while being entertained. Other games have similar stories like this, and none of them are really bad. In an IMDb article, the plot of Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is explained. Upon reading, your character is not a bloodthirsty killer. He is a morally just soldier who is trying to protect the lives of innocent civilians who are under attack by a radical rebellion group. They drop bombs killing thousands. You get revenge on the person doing it and save thousands more. Finally, violent video games stimulate brain activity and critical thinking. Battlefield and Dark Souls are two of the most complicated video games ever made. Battlefield is a 64v64 large-scale war simulator where a player can choose to be a foot soldier, drive a reconnaissance vehicle, drive a tank, fly a jet, fly a helicopter, or drive a boat. There are many different types of planes that play differently, helicopters and foot soldiers. After you pick your preferred playstyle, you must work with 63 other completely different individuals to accomplish your goal, which is fending off 64 enemies on the other team, also real players. This requires a ton of troop placement, critical thinking, and timing to pull off. Everyone must work together. The team that wins is the team that's smarter. Dark Souls is considered by many to be the most complicated and hard video game ever made. It is a medieval sword-fighting RPG or role-playing game where the player must use a series of blocks, hits, dodges, ducks, spells, and potions to fight off a monster that they're fighting. People spend hours and days memorizing the moves of the monster, then memorizing the moves they need to make to combat it, and then doing it. Many people consider it impossible, but it's not impossible. It just requires a ton of memorization. The same memorization that can help you on a large college test. Every game has advanced mechanics that aren't explained to them and can only be achieved through communication with other players or experience. All this is a giant chess match, and no one has a problem with chess. Violent video games are not the kill everything and get mad if you don't narrative that the media likes to say they are. These games stimulate brain activity. These games provide education and communication sites.